I got an email from the Long Beach FISDO. The email just said, Brandon, we're doing an investigation on this aircraft and it's registered to you. So I'm like wondering, okay, what did I do? And I can't sleep that night. I wake up at like 3 a.m. thinking, I'm going to lose my pilot's license. What is going to happen to me?
The email kind of really got us thinking about how many military pilots there are out there that are thinking about going from doing that transition from military to commercial aviation and how complex that process can seem.
And I watched the video, and it was a horrifying video to watch. Anybody who's seen it knows that was not a good day. The thing is about that airplane crash, I mean, I encourage everybody to go check out that video. This impacts a lot of people because every lending company only has a certain amount of lending capacity, right? When they were not able to sell those loans to the open market, they had to stop lending in our industry completely. Welcome to the Aviation Mentors podcast, the podcast that takes your dreams of flight and turns it into reality.
Sponsored by Strass Financial, financing your flight training.
For pilots, by pilots. I'm Brandon Martini, a commercial pilot and flight instructor.
And I'm Carson Vasquez, I'm a private pilot.
Whether you're a seasoned pilot or beginner with dreams of flight,
Aviation Mentors is your source for expert insights, industry trends, and inspiring stories.
So fasten your seatbelts and prepare for this incredible journey through the skies.
And stay connected with us on social media for exclusive content.
And visit our website at www.aviationmentors.com and let us be your co-pilot on this adventure. Welcome back, everybody, to another awesome and, of course, amazing episode of the Aviation Mentors podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, we are on air, or for some reason, producer Mark said, RIA no. And that's because we've got this little sign right here. And it looks like to us it says RIA no, but to you it should say on air. It bothers me so much that it says RIA no, and they wanted to make sure that I knew all about RIA no.
Brand just needs something to get it, get his mindset right and get him in the mood for whatever he's doing when he switches tasks. And I thought RIA no would be a great way for him to get in the mindset. Clearly, we're wrong.
Clearly wrong. Just typical Carson being wrong.
I'm so sorry. Please forgive me, Brandon.
Not today, not tomorrow.
But one day.
But one day.
That's okay. That's important.
It's a good Brandonism.
I actually have a list of Brandonisms.
I know. You've talked about a few of them on air once.
I know. I love it.
Brandonisms are fantastic.
As long as they're appropriate.
Yeah, I guess we could probably skip the inappropriate ones. Not that I would have any of those, Carson.
No, of course not.
Person do you think I am?
Yeah, I think the last one you had was pretty good. It was like business is business. Doesn't matter. The company, the people, the industry, all businesses have the same like core functions and
core problems.
Needs. Yeah.
And core needs, yeah, they do. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say. It's a smart quote, Carson.
It was a really good one.
I know. Well, I wonder who that...
Oh, no, too bad no one wrote it down.
So today, actually, today's topic, we're going to be answering a question from one of our listeners, Tyler. So Tyler, thanks so much for reaching out via email. And you sent over a question, and I let you know in my email back that we would address it on one of the episodes coming up soon. And today is that day. Tyler wrote over to us. He said, I am very interested in flying. I want to guarantee a spot on an airliner and would like to make the best decisions. A mentor would definitely help. I'm 25 years old, still serving in the Army until August 2025. I have 0 flight experience. So the first thing I want to say is, first off, thank you so much for serving our military. We really appreciate that. And it takes a lot of sacrifice to join the military for you, your family, and sometimes your future. So thank you so much for making the sacrifice for our country to keep us safe and be one of the people that allows us to be here and make this podcast every single day.
Yeah, especially kind of top of mind. We have, what is that one? Is it an Army base or Air Force base out in Orange County? Los Alamos?
I don't know what you're talking about, Carson.
Oh, man. I always see the Blackhawks flying in and out of there.
Los Alamitos?
Los Alamitos. That's the one.
The one right near my California house?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I always see those. They're flying over Corona all the time. Yeah, Blackhawks.
Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Big airplanes?
Not airplanes, helicopters. Close.
I almost got them there.
Yeah. Nope, not today.
Oh, darn.
Still super current.
Super current. Speaking of super current, Carson, you need to go flying.
Yeah, you actually told me you'd take me up in that RV. You want to go?
Yeah, I did say that. I
have the picture, actually.
You know what? Before we get into that, I've got 2 things I want to bring. Actually, I'll talk about one thing, and then we can kind of get into a couple other topics.
Going off script.
Going off script, guys. Going off script. So I got an email the other day. Did I tell you about the email I got?
I don't think so. Which one?
I got an email from the Long Beach FISDO. Really nice inspector sent me an email, and the email just said, Brandon, we're doing an investigation on this aircraft, and it's registered to you. Do you know the pilot in command that was flying on X day?
Was that when you landed in Long Beach?
That's when I landed in Long Beach.
Oh,
So I racked my brain. I was like, what did I do wrong? Because when I fly that thing, I am so careful. I stay away from boats. I stay away from everything.
Yeah.
Like, I really am careful. And I was wondering, what did I do wrong? I went and looked at my flight path. I went and did all the things that I figured, okay, I had to have done something wrong. Like, if I did something wrong, I'll figure it out and I'll just admit to it and make it go away. So I look it up and I'm like, I can't find anything I did wrong. But I'm sure I did something wrong and they're investigating me. Like, I've never been investigated for anything in my life with the FAA.
Congratulations. First time.
Thanks so much. I appreciate that. So I get this email and I send an email back thinking, okay, now I probably did something really bad. So now I'm in trouble. So now I'm going to call an attorney and I'm going to send a email response back to him. Like, essentially, send me whatever request you have in writing, because now I'm going to lawyer up and I don't want to lose my pilot's license or something crazy, right? So that's what I'm thinking. I don't know, my mind goes to worst case scenario when you get an email from the FAA.
You still haven't sent the email back?
Carson, I'm not there to my story yet.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get ahead of it. Like, do you hit a pot of dolphins? Like, what?
It's like a whale ended up dying after your landing.
Beached whale in the harbor.
That's
after
really
Brand's
weird.
Landing.
Yeah. Why did that happen?
Yeah, like, you have tough landings sometimes.
Hey.
No, butterflies.
No, so I send the email back and I call the attorney. Of course, the attorney's like out of town for several weeks, and his paralegal calls me back and said, "Oh, call AOPA." I should have called AOPA. I'm an AOPA member.
That's the advice we give everyone else.
Exactly. I didn't listen to it myself. I called an attorney that one of my friends used before, thinking, okay, this would be a great attorney to use. And that guy was like out of the country or something. So I call him. I get no answer. I send that email back over to the FAA, the FSDO, and I'm like, hey, basically send me in writing what you're investigating me on. I don't get anything back that day. I sent the email back at like 2:00, but the FAA typically like ends at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Pacific time. So I'm like wondering, okay, what did I do? And I can't sleep that night. I wake up at like 3 a.m. thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my pilot's license. What is going to happen to me? I am so scared. Like, I'm like, this is my life. Like, what am I going to say? We're
gonna have to take that pilot off the wall right up there.
I know, pilot, somebody who loses their license. That's what I was thinking the whole time.
Welcome to the Aviation Mentor podcast.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah. Wouldn't that suck? I can't sleep, and I'm like racking my brain, like, what is going to happen to me? And I get this email in the morning. It says, somebody reported that an aircraft looked like it was going to crash into Long Beach Harbor, and they wanted an investigation done on it. And this person is likely not familiar with seaplane operations or what an Icon A5 is. We would just like to have a conversation with you. It's for 5 minutes. And all I thought to myself was, thank God. So end of story is I did absolutely nothing wrong. I abided by all the regulations.
Still a pilot.
He asked me one like trick question. It was like, did you break any regulations that day? I was like, no, I don't believe so. And he said, I checked your flight path and it doesn't look like you did to me either. Can you tell me more about the airplane? I've never actually seen one in person. And I heard that they're impossible to stall and they just get into a spin. I said, no, actually the opposite. They will get into a stall, but not a violent one. And if you have power, they'll kind of like flutter and stay up there. And I said, it's almost impossible to make it spin because it's got the spin resistant airframe and a few other safety things in there. So long story long. I didn't get deviated. I didn't get anything. Somebody thought I was crashing in the water when I wasn't crashing in the water. I landed on the water and I turned off the engine. I was sitting around and I was hanging out.
You even took back off. Like
I even took back off. Like, why would you go report that after somebody takes off?
I guess I could see if I wasn't a pilot, not familiar with planes, I saw an airplane where airplanes usually don't typically land in Long Beach. And I was like, oh, a plane's going down. Like, I can kind of see that.
How about if they take back off 5 minutes later? If you think a plane crashed, you think you're just going to like leave?
Maybe they called 911 and then they're like, oh, never mind. It took off again.
Wouldn't you call 911 and say, oh, never mind. They just took off. No, people are probably idiots and they probably would just call 911 and like not watch and not make sure that anybody's okay. Like, it makes no sense to me. Like, really, guys? Come on. So.
Well, I'm glad you still have your licenses.
Thank you. I'm glad I have them too. Yes, I'm glad I did not get in trouble for doing nothing wrong. So that was my short story, and I forgot all about bringing it up. So it's not even on our script. So I had to go off the script.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a wrap for today. So thanks everyone for listening. And
Oh, Carson, you're gonna have everybody logging off early.
Oh no, I'd never do that. Don't worry. We got plenty more to talk about. Do you have anything else you want to mention off script?
No, that's all I got off
No,
script.
you're just gonna wait till later, and you're gonna start plugging in again.
I'll plug it again later.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, going back to Tyler's question, our topic for today, the email kind of really got us thinking about how many military pilots there are out there that are thinking about going from doing that transition from military to commercial aviation, and how complex that process can seem. It could be a little bit different depending on if you have any hours, if you're a pilot in the military or not. But there are a couple things in place that can help you become a pilot. So those are pretty important ones.
Yeah, we're going to cover some pretty cool resources today, like the Army. Carson, I think you pressed the wrong one. Like the Army Cool program and the GI Bill that can make kind of transition to becoming from military to a civilian pilot a lot smoother, even if you don't fly in the military currently, just like our listener hadn't. So if you're a military pilot thinking of making the jump into commercial flying, or just curious about the process, this episode is definitely for you.
Absolutely. It's for you. That was a really aggressive point.
It was, Carson.
Yeah, it is for nice. You.
For you.
You know, I'm going to go off script. I was thinking about...
This isn't going to be good, guys.
Oh, man.
Carson going off script.
Yeah. So I was thinking about, when you're talking about the icon going in a spin versus stall, I was thinking about flat spins. And did you hear about what happened in Brazil with that was turboprop?
A great segue, Carson, into the next segment. I like that. That was pretty good.
So much for it was going to go terrible. That was pretty good.
I thought it was going to go terrible.
Yeah, look at me go.
I did hear about that, and I watched the video, and it was a horrifying video to watch. Anybody who's seen it knows that was not a good day.
Yeah, there's a couple of videos out there. There's the one where the engine failed at Fullerton on that multi, and it as on takeoff, and it.
Yes, that was
like that one.
A Duke.
And I think the one that happened 2 years ago at some air show. Two planes. It was midair. Two vintage Warbirds.
Carson doesn't know what he's talking about right now.
Do I not?
I don't know. Does he?
Yeah, I think I do.
Okay.
I'm just thinking. I'm going off script.
Off the script. See, you should have stuck to the script.
No, I should have.
What do we know about this Brazilian airplane, Carson?
The Brazilian one, it crashed in Sao Paulo, and it unfortunately killed all 62 people on board. So it was definitely not a good incident. Just from what we can tell from the video, looked like a flat spin. That's what I got from it. Is that what you saw? It
was definitely a flat spin. There was no doubt about that. And how would one of those airplanes get into a flat spin? Typically, the only way to get into that flat spin is probably severe icing conditions.
You think so?
I'm pretty sure of it.
You're an MEI.
I am an MEI.
Yeah, you'd know better. But anyway,
not type rated in an ATR though. That's for sure.
No, you're not. Yeah, what was it? ATR 72-500.
It is, Carson. That's what it says right there on that paper.
That is. Yeah, you can pull up things fast. Get better. But anyway, I thought it was worth mentioning, and it was worth just, I don't know, things like that. I feel like we have to discuss them.
The thing is about that airplane crash. I mean, I encourage everybody to go check out that video. Just look up like Sao Paulo, Brazil spiraling airplane crash or something, ATR crash. Unfortunately, it killed 58 passengers and 4 crew, so 62 people, like Carson said. And there's ways to avoid that. I mean, there's no get there-itis. There's no I have to fly. I don't care if it is a major corporation telling you must fly. Is it worth losing your life over your job? That's what it breaks down to. I mean, do you want to lose your job or lose your life? And sometimes you probably have to make the hard decision. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully you work for good people. Sometimes you might have to make the decision. Yeah, I'm losing my job over this. And will you probably be okay? Probably, if you go do that flight. But there's a 1% or once in a lifetime chance, it's literally a lifetime chance, that you won't be. This was probably, we don't have the whole report yet on this, and who knows if we ever will because it wasn't a US based aircraft. But yeah, I mean, that person just probably should have said no to that flight or done a better briefing or something. So it didn't get into that severe of icing. Another thing that we could look at is Kobe Bryant's crash. And I don't know if we talked about that in the past. Maybe we can talk about that in depth and kind of go through it sometime. But Kobe Bryant's crash was avoidable. The pilot should have never taken off. I don't know if Kobe or somebody told him, "Hey, you got to go. We got to go today. We got to get to where we're going." I don't know if that happened or not. I didn't pay that close of attention to everything, but all I do know is that pilot should not have flown.
Yeah. Also,
and if he should have flown in actual IFR conditions and not trying to scud run. He should have actually flown IFR. I mean, he was a well-rounded pilot. He should have just flown IFR.
Yeah, I think it comes down to laziness sometimes. But I think another thing to think about when you are going for these pilot jobs is what kind of culture is that company or person you're going to be working for like? Are they going to give you that get there-itis and always make you feel like that? Or are they going to prioritize the safety?
Actually, I think culture is big in every company. It doesn't matter if you're an aviation company, if you're a startup, or whatever company you're working in. I know there's some companies that I work with every once in a while, and everyone feels like I feel like I'm talking to a stick in the mud all the time. It doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel entertaining. Carson knows exactly who I'm talking about.
I do.
And I'm just like, come on, guys, just let's enjoy ourselves here. We got to work together.
People doing a job.
We're people doing a job, but
Yeah.
we have to enjoy ourselves. So I know at Stratus, for example, we've created a culture of inclusion and fun and joy and celebration. We want to celebrate birthdays and holidays and milestones and different people's ethnic beliefs, and we do all those things.
And we have like a sense of like humor and camaraderie. Like pretty much every department, every meeting.
I think humor is number one thing that can break up the monotony.
Yeah, it breaks the ice with everything you do.
It does. So Carson, actually, I'm going to go off script on one more thing before we get into Army Cool program stuff.
All right, go for it. Am I getting a raise?
Did you hear the news? No. Did you hear the news yesterday? Carson's being way too quiet.
Thinking.
The news yesterday, Carson, was a really big news. Our biggest competitor.
Big news.
Biggest competitor is no longer lending until further notice in our industry in a whole. Actually, this impacts a lot of people because every lending company only has a certain amount of lending capacity, right? So Stratus's lending capacity is not opening up 300 to 400% overnight when our biggest competitor just decided they're going to stop lending in our industry. So this does has an impaction to you guys. One, that other lender was cheaper than Stratus. It was. Well, guess what? They weren't able to sell those loans to the open market. When they were not able to sell those loans to the open market, they had to stop lending in our industry completely. That is a problem. That means that 150 schools no longer have any lending partners besides two people, really. I mean, there's a couple others, but they're very small. And those two people are Sally Mae and Stratus Financial. And I'll tell you this, the schools that have already had it and they've been supportive of Stratus, we're going to be supportive of them. We're not accepting new schools right now because we've literally got an onslaught of 80 new school requests yesterday.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. But it's going to shake up the industry. I mean, there's a lot of people that are no longer going to be able to get financing. You're going to see a lot of schools struggle very quickly. Large schools. I'm going to bet on it. You're going to see large schools struggle because they're not going to be getting the number of finance students coming through the door. If they were a maritime school, I don't think they're going to get them.
The trickle effects are crazy.
Trickle effects on that is mind blowing. The schools are already thinking about it because obviously they're approaching us. But I'm going to tell everybody, do not pay large chunks of money to flight schools. There's also a flight school that went out of business last week.
Virginia one?
Yeah, it was in Virginia or something. It screwed a lot of people. And some people paid $100,000 in cash to them. I'll tell you this. Maritize didn't do it, neither does Stratus, by the way. Stratus does not fund schools in one giant tranche. We fund the schools in smaller tranches to alleviate that risk. So that means your risk profile is only 10 or 20,000 at the most. It's not something you want to do is give a flight school 50 to 100 grand at once. I don't care if they're one of our partner flight schools. Don't do it. It doesn't matter. Don't give that much money to anybody at once without some underlying collateral. I mean, if they're signing over an airplane to you or something, if they go out of business, then maybe, hey, that might be a good idea. But that's more of a loan to a school. Yeah, with the prices now, exactly. So be careful. Look at some of the Stratus partner schools. They're the ones that are going to be provide the most funding right now compared to ones that our competitor was at. So just be wary right now. It's going to be a changing time in aviation. I guarantee it.
It is. And Stratus is working on picking up the slack that was left.
And now we need to pick up the slack that's left. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult, but I know we're here for it, and we're here to support our aviation community, especially our flight school partners that have supported us from day one. We're here for you guys, and we're going to be steadfast in providing that funding for your students.
Well said.
You know what time it is, Carson?
Time's it, Brandon?
It's time to talk about one of our favorite companies.
Which company would that be?
Aviation Mentors is excited to be sponsored by the one and only Stratus Financial, dedicated to supporting the next generation of future aviators.
You know, Stratus Financial really understands the financial challenges that students face in pursuing their aviation dreams. That's why they offer student loans specifically tailored to aspiring pilots.
With competitive rates and flexible repayment plans, Stratus Financial helps take your aviation education to new heights.
So go visit their website today at www.stratus.finance. Just to be clear, that is not .com, it's .finance. And embark on your journey towards a sky full of possibilities.
Carson, it's time to get back to what we do best.
The show.
All
right, you want to get into the meat and potatoes?
Meat and potatoes.
I guess you guys for sure know now that my little joke, let's wrap it up, is definitely not true. I know you've had a lot of experience dealing with the GI Bill and Army Cool. I think there's Air Force and Navy Cool too.
There are, yeah. There's other cool programs, and there's also some other programs, I can't remember the names of them, that are very similar to it, but they're credentialing programs. And
Credentialing Opportunities Online is what the Cool stands for. It's a program really designed to help service members get the credentials that will really help them with the civilian careers that they're going for. And for pilots, that means some type of funding for the training and certifications that are required for commercial aviation.
So I wanted to kind of talk about a few things, because a lot of military members want to go into aviation outside of the military, right? There's a couple different ways. Now, if you were already in aviation in the military, you could use your GI Bill and you could go to school and you can get your ratings. Now, GI Bill only covers, last year it was like $14,700 a fiscal year, and that's June to June. So if you don't time it right, you can't utilize all that money. And if you time it wrong, you run out of money before you're able to start on your next program. And that's only if you go to a flight school that's like approved by the VA. Now, if you go to a university program, and typically it will cover the entire amount, but now you're going to take 5 years to complete this university program. And we've all heard what I've said. If you take 5 years to complete something, you're losing out on at least $1 million in earning potential over your lifetime. Why would I give up $1 million of earning potential over my lifetime if I can just get everything done in a year?
Yeah, I think it's same as like opening a Roth IRA young versus waiting the 5 years. You know, your experience and the money you're actually going to make in the airlines for your seniority is just going to compound.
Yeah, I mean, minimum, it's going to compound in that way. So I tell everyone, try to get it done in a year. It'll put you above the curve for everybody else. With all that being said, if you leave the military and you're already a pilot, you can do some of these VA programs and get done within 6 months or so, because you can convert your licenses. So I'm not really going to talk much about that today. I'm going to talk about somebody who's leaving the military. They have military benefits, and now they want to be a pilot in the civilian world. So they might have worked with airplanes, or they were a mechanic, or they could have done anything in the military, and now they just want to go fly. Like, everybody's human. Everybody wants to fly, right? Now, the VA does not pay for private pilots. You know that, Carson?
I did not. I worked at the flight school.
Yeah.
Oh, I worked at the flight school before Army Cool.
Yeah, but they did not pay. Still then, no matter what.
Oh.
And that flight school was not VA approved. So I don't know what you're talking about, Carson.
It was the Army Cool program.
Army Cool program was there when you were there. Now I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
So the VA does not typically pay for a private pilot certificate, but the Army Cool program does pay for the private pilot certificate. Now, they only pay for it up to a certain dollar amount, and they've changed their program every single year. It's changed a little bit. So you're going to have to double check and see what the program is now. And they typically run out of money somewhere around now. So they will probably re-up in January. So this means you can kind of start prepping for that time, especially if you haven't left the military yet. Well, once you do the Army Cool program will pay for your private, right? Well, if you can time that correctly, so let's just say you start in January, you finish your private in March or April. Well, now you can go to a VA school, use $14,500. You could now get most of your instrument rating done, if not your whole instrument rating. Especially if you're going to a 141, you definitely can, by the way. I think that going to a 141 for private and instrument is really advantageous. And then when you get to commercial, it's less advantageous. So get those two ratings done, because now you can get them done in as minimum as 70 hours combined, but that's unrealistic. So just think of it as 90 or 100 or whatever it may be. But it's still easier to finish your instrument in a 141 program. After that, then you're able to go work on getting your commercial. Well, now it's also around June. or July. So what can you do? You can get another $14,700 and you can go to the VA and you can get some more money and spend that on flight training. So now you've utilized around, let's just call it 15,000 3 times. So now you've used $45,000. Keep in mind the average loan to get all of your ratings all the way from 0 to CFII MEI is $86,000. You've just spent 6-7 months and you have saved $45,000.
That's genius.
I know it is.
Did you come up with that all yourself?
I did. I just looked at the data and
no, that
and
makes
I made
a lot of sense. Though. I
recommendations.
mean, structuring it just right, and you have a little bit of a buffer still with a couple months in between, but it makes sense. You say the program runs out of money and re-ups,
And it re-ups every year.
Okay, got it.
So as long as they're going to re-up the program, which they have, but it is an election year this year, so you never know what's going to happen, especially when it comes to funding in an election year. But typically things don't change in an election year, so I'm guessing nothing's going to change, and we will still have the Army Cool program or the Navy Cool or whatever Air Force program you're in or whatnot. With that being said, now that you're still short 40 grand, you still need that $45,000 to finish up everything. Well, that's when you take a loan out. So you get a loan from Stratus, or I would have said somebody else, but there's no one else anymore. So you get a loan from Stratus, and then we will help you finish out your rating. So now you have less debt. We now feel more secure as a lender because, hey, look, you just got done with 2 ratings and your time building. We're ready to get you done, get you to CFII and MEI so you can start working. And you're getting finished up in less than a year, like I said.
That's a good deal. That's a good package.
It's a great package.
Yeah.
I don't know why people wouldn't do that. Now, some people don't listen to me and they start at the wrong time, and people don't learn their lesson until it's too late. And that happens in all facets of life. And I'm hoping, based on the Aviation Mentors podcast, we've kind of gained some credibility over time on the things that I've said. But when you're at a flight school and you're trying to tell somebody, here's a program, here's how you should do it, I'm selling them on like the best thing for them. And they don't believe me. They just think, oh, I'm some sales guy trying to sell what I need for me. And that's what most schools do. They sell for themselves and not necessarily for the student's benefit. And that's in every facet of life in sales, right? But you really need to find somebody who you trust and who you've gained a rapport with. And that's what you need to listen to.
Like a mentor. Like an aviation mentor.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be smart?
Yeah, that'd be super helpful.
That would be very helpful. So that's why I was really grateful that Tyler sent over that question, because then I could talk about this and why it matters to listen to mentors on how to get to your goals. If you want to be a commercial pilot and fly airliners, you need to take all the steps needed. If you want to be an ag pilot, take all the steps needed. I'm going to tell you, go network with other ag pilots. If you want to go be a fire pilot, go network with other fire pilots. If you want to go be like a police helicopter pilot, maybe go join the police force and become a pilot at the same time.
Another cool way to do that is going and volunteering, doing some volunteer search and rescue kind of flights. I was talking to Shane about that a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, you can do that with
awesome.
What's the name of that program?
Don't even ask me right now. Feel better?
I do, a little bit.
Okay, good.
Yeah, so that's kind of the 5,000-foot view of how to go from military, go into civilian life, use some of those military benefits. Oh, I forgot to mention one thing. Once you use those military benefits, you've only used like a couple semesters worth or 2 years worth. What do you do with the other money? Go use it. Go get an online degree.
Oh, yeah.
You can go to some schools and they will give you credit. I know Spartan and Liberty both give you credit for flight hours. So if you've got 300 flight hours and you've got all the ratings to CFII and MEI, they will give you like 2 or 2.5 years of credit towards a bachelor's degree. And you can do the rest of it online.
Which is huge because typically when things are pretty normal and for most airlines, having a bachelor's degree is a requirement for an airline.
It was for many years. As of lately, it's not. But also,
it can come back.
What if you get sick? What if you can no longer fly? What if you
poke your eye out?
Poke your eye out, or you get into a car accident, you lose a limb or something. Now you can't fly anymore. Make sure you have a backup. You want to be able to provide for your family long term, and there's ways to do that, and that's just having a backup with a degree and just knowing that you can do something. I'll tell you this: I have backup after backup after backup nowadays. I mean, if this CEO and co-founder thing doesn't work, I could always be a podcast personality and make zero money. I guess that's one thing I could do, or I could go be I can go be a pilot. Carson, I didn't get deviated last week.
You're right.
Okay.
And the world needs baristas too. So
the world does need baristas. That's in my sign over there.
Nice.
I cannot be a barista. I'm not very good at making coffee unless it's black.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just all I like to drink. So besides that, so I've got that as my backup. So I can still be an airline pilot. I can still be a corporate pilot. I can still fly people privately. And then, heck, even if everything went terrible, I can go back to my old career and become an auto adjuster.
Oh yeah.
I could.
You could do that.
I could do that. So I've got all these backups. So even if my chosen profession doesn't work out, I still have some backups. And I think everybody should have backups. If you're an airline pilot, you might as well. What's actually in any field have a backup? What if you decide one day, wow, I really hate this corporate job. I really hate what I do. Carson's already has that look right now. He's already like, I hate what I do.
No, I love what I do. And I think I put my eggs in one basket. So I guess I should probably diversify and start working with Anthony instead of Brandon more.
Oh, jeez. It's okay. Carson and I've got a couple special projects in the loop right now.
Oh, we do. And I think one of them is really going to pan out for us.
I hope so. What's it called?
Luminary Augmenters.
It is awesome.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. And we're just in like the development phase right now.
But we should launch in about 2-3 weeks from the time that this airs, and I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to help other entrepreneurs. We're going to help COOs streamline their processes in their companies and bring efficiency to their world. I noticed.
And believe it or not, we are very efficient people. Brand and I like to simplify things and get it done right, and we work together great with that.
We do. I mean, it's 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah, don't get too close to me.
Or 2 edamames in an edamame pod. No.
Okay.
Don't press it.
I was going to press the button, but hold on. Yeah, but I think we work together great, and we're looking forward to it. But I got one more question for you about the GI Bill or Army Cool GI, all those benefits before we finish up. Are they pretty difficult to get? Is there like a long application process that you've seen?
I actually had my office manager do the whole application process inside for the school, and she completed it in like 2 or 3 months. Once we got approved, it went really well. And for the process for the student, it does take 2 to 3 months to get the initial approval on the Cool program.
Okay, I'm assuming most of it's just waiting.
Like it's just waiting. Okay. And you got to fill out a bunch of forms and stuff online. And if they run out of money, they run out of money.
You're getting your flight training paid for. It's huge.
It is.
Like people do a lot less or a lot more for a lot less as far as scholarships go. And
very much.
Oh, speaking of, how'd that scholarship go for Stratus?
Oh, we already paid it out. It was fantastic. Yeah, she's very excited. She's working
awesome.
on her training right now. So.
That's huge news.
Cool. Well, thanks so much, everybody, for listening today or watching us on YouTube. One of our favorite episodes. Yes, Carson's doing this weird thing. I hope Mark got that. That is great with his eyes. So thanks so much. If you would like to reach out to either one of us, you can reach us on our emails, brandon@aviationmentors.com or carson@aviationmentors.com. For Mark, our producer, it's producer@aviationmentors.com. Don't forget to hit like, follow, subscribe, etc. on whatever streaming platform you're listening or watching us on. And make sure you click that share button. It's really a huge part of helping us grow the podcast and helping us grow our aviation community. And if you haven't watched our previous episode about Oshkosh 2024, please click right here in the upper right-hand corner.
This might be the upper right-hand corner.
You know what? It's one of these corners.
Somewhere. Yeah, it's one of those. It'll be somewhere plastered on the screen for you.
So
if you're not listening, or if you're just listening and not watching, just go watch.
Then you can check the show notes below.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. You're getting the hang of it.
Got it, Carson.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. Well, anyway, as a wrap up for the day, remember, we're here to guide you in your aviation journey. So fly safe and enjoy the ride.
See ya.
Bye, guys.